Welcome to Timothy Haggerty on YouTube.com. Please subscribe, please view, any comments, suggestions, I'd like to hear them. I am actually going to be doing my first episode of my vacation talk. I'm going to start way back in the beginning when I was a little kid. There will be some things I talk about, some minor day things I went on, like day trips, and I'll be talking about my a weekend trip I went with a church group, and it was like a camping trip when I was like 7 or 8 years old. Let me push play on the
Dungeons.
second.
There in 2000.
So I remember back when I was a kid, I went to Buttermilk Falls. It's up near Ithaca, New York. I remember I used to go hiking in the woods there, having some nice picnics. We had I remember one time when I was a kid, I went with my Aunt Sandra and Uncle Louie. We had some Kentucky Fried Chicken. That was pretty cool. We packed some lunch meat. I remember a time we actually had burgers and stuff over there. And I remember when I used to swim in Buttermilk Falls. It was pretty nice with the waterfall coming down. And I went to another place in Ithaca. It started with an M. I can't remember the name of it. And then it was Stewart's Park. I remember back in the day you could actually go swimming in the water there at Stewart's Park. Not really anymore, but we'd have picnics there. We see sailboats out in the water. I remember this kind of theme park called Sky. I think it was up near Ithaca, somewhere out in that direction. I went when I was a kid. I went to Canobos when I was a kid, up near, it's about 90 minutes to 2 hours from where I live. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to different places and stuff like that. And I went to Indian Pow, going towards Williamsport way. And I just went to some different odd places in Pennsylvania and New York. I had the opportunity to go, so that was pretty cool. But the actual episode is actually talking about the weekend, the 3 days I was down in, it was the Baptist church down in Athens, right by the Athens High School. You know, you come from the Athens High School and it's right across. And I went with a church group to this, we stayed in like cabins, and we had our sleeping bag. I had that sleeping bag for over 20 years. That was a long time. And I'm just trying to remember a second. Oh, okay. We learned things about maple trees, because they would get you see the maple tree, and they take this little sliver thing, put it in there and have like a jar and bring the maple right out of the tree. We would sing and worship and listen to the Word of God, and we would play some basketball. We would throw the football around. We do a little hiking kind of trip kind of thing, and it was just all cool, you know. We all got together. We had a nice pancake breakfast with eggs, bacon, sausage, OJ. So that was pretty neat. It was just a nice thing. And I remember just last year I seen somebody who used to be a part of that church, and he's a APR guy for tax and stuff like that, and it was cool. It brought back the memory of when back in the day I actually did this, so it's pretty amazing, and I enjoyed it very much. And I remember some great moments back in the day. I remember the time when I went up to Chemung. You know, we go over by the creek. I look at these rocks that has like Indian symbols on and stuff, and would hike around the creek and stuff like that, and go in the woods. And I remember there was a trailer court over there till they built the actual house on the other side, and it'd be like a little creek through the side of it, through right by a bridge up in Chemung. And I actually remember my aunt Patsy. You know, that was a good moment when the trailer court was there. I think I was only like maybe 4, 5, 6, or 7 or something like that. And we had to be by the garage, and they had these folding chairs. And I go up, talk to Patsy, and talk to my Uncle Mike, and my cousin Ryan was just, I think he was like 3 years old or 4 years old. So I remember the trailer had this big clock in there. You know, it was pretty nice. I remember when I was like a little kid, I got upset. It was a bunch of books on the table. I just said, okay, threw them off the table. They took a picture of it. Yeah, I kind of remember those moments. And then when they made the house, you know, at the top, at the back, it was like a balcony where you could go out there, and it was a balcony up at the top. You got the room coming in, then you have other rooms. You have the TV room and kitchen and some different things. And then it's you go down the hill, it's another apartment complex where you go in that door. So it's like 2 different floors of a house. You could have 2 different families living in there. So it was pretty nice. And I remember when I was a kid, we would go over on the far side, and we had a tree house. We would actually go up on the tree house, hang out, and all that stuff. And then we had all that field right there. So yeah, I remember back in the day they used to make these. They had these in the ground. They're like a long root, and it was like a whip if you think about it. But yeah, some interesting members back in the day, and it was a lot of fun. And you know, between when I was young till I was probably 11 years old, yeah, I went on that weekend trip with the church, and I might have done things with different churches, like day trips, and I've done things with my family and all that stuff. But that's what basically kind of trips I did till I was like 11. And in the next episode, I'll be talking about my second episode. I'll be talking about when I went down to Gettysburg with Boy Scouts, and my uncle Sean Haggerty was actually one of the leaders. So that'd be a pretty good topic to talk about when I went down to Gettysburg for my next episode. Thank you all.